weather? Call Sweet James.
Now, this is the Fox 11 Weekend News.
Right now at 5:30, a live look at LAX tonight, where some incoming flights were briefly halted because of an air traffic controller shortage. This as the government shutdown nears 30 days. Welcome to the Fox 11 Weekend News. I'm Susan Hirasuna. It's an issue we've already seen earlier in the government shutdown. Regional staff had to step in and help Burbank Airport after all of the air traffic controllers called out sick. Experts warn things can get worse. Fox 11's Haley Winslow joins us now live from LAX with the latest there. Haley.
Susan, the FAA says it slows traffic like it did today when they have these staffing shortages, which are happening all across the system. Our local air traffic control tower saw more than 200 delayed flights in and out of LAX as of just 1 p.m. today, and multiply that across the West Coast, where we've seen these troubled flights all day today. And this is all due to sick calls from down south. 6-year-old Gannett Smith can't wait to fly home.
I love it.
But he may have to wait a little longer. The government shutdown impacted West Coast hubs Sunday, including flights in and out of LAX.
Have your boarding passes out and available.
The latest holdup, air traffic controller staffing issues at the Southern California TRACON in San Diego, the busiest air traffic control facility in the country. It manages airspace for most of the region, including LAX, Burbank, John Wayne, and San Diego International. Too many sick calls have grounded flights.
We sat in San Jose on the tarmac forever, and so we were delayed a long time.
I think it's, quite understandable because people are working long hours and then they are not getting paid. They don't have gas, they don't have food, and just people, sometimes they get up.
The American worker that lives paycheck to paycheck, which is almost every air traffic controller, cannot last without pay. It's that simple. And so stop waiting for us to be the ones that break in order to somehow fix the government.
TSA officers, also considered essential employees, are required to work without pay, causing staffing shortages, raising safety concerns, and leading to longer lines and delays.
And then you get back to LAX and it's just pandemonium.
When I want to go back home and see my family and stuff, it does make me kind of reconsider.
We just hope that we'll be able to have some resolution soon, so that way we can get things running to the way they should be. But for right now, everything is just a wait.
Delays will likely continue until Congress reaches a resolution.
They should be flying.
Yeah, take it from a 6-year-old. And it is obviously causing a ripple effect all across the system and all over LAX, with the lines, with parking, and with traffic, which was pretty monstrous today, all day today, really. Reporting live here at LAX, I'm Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
So, Haley, what kind of advice can you give to people who are getting ready to travel?
Well, obviously, give yourself as much time as you possibly can. Terminal 5 is also closed, so that affects JetBlue, Spirit, and soon American Airlines. So make sure you go to flylax.com to check the latest information. You can also go to FAA.gov, fly.faa.gov, and they'll give you any kind of updates all across the country on your flight situation, whether you're going in and out of LAX or another airport. Another little tip that I always give people is, if you know the airport is going to be absolutely packed, which it usually is, say, Sundays at 10 p.m. If you're going to drop somebody off, instead go to Arrivals and have them take the escalator up or down. If you go to their Twitter page, you can follow real-time information and just figure out which part of the horseshoe is going slower, and then they might just have to go up the escalator.
Haley,
I'll send it back to you.
We talk a lot about the trickle-down. Leaving here, going back.
It's affecting everybody. So the average flight today, for instance, on these delays was about an hour.
I'm looking forward to who presents themselves in 2028 and who meets that moment. And that's the question for the American people.
Is it fair to say, after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying, and I can't do that.
Governor, you have long said that if you ever run for the White House, you need a compelling why, a reason. Are you moving closer to figuring out your own why and your own decision?
Yeah, Nietzsche said, if you have a compelling why, you can endure any how. And so I don't think, I think the biggest challenge for anyone who runs for any office is people see right through you if you don't have that why. You're doing it for the wrong reasons. And so, look, well, that fate will determine that.
Well, for more on this, LA Times writer Seema Mehta joins us now live. How many times, Seema, have you asked him that question? Are you running for president?
I can't even count the number of times. But I mean, quite frankly, I'm interested that he finally said it out loud, but this has been like the worst kept secret in Sacramento and California that he, was thinking about running for governor, honestly.
For running for president, indeed. So when we ask this question, why now? Does it have anything to do with Kamala Harris and what she said yesterday?
Well, I mean, I think he has an opening now because, President Biden, he was a big supporter of President Biden, and as were many Democrats. And then once President Biden decided not to run for re-election because of, all of the issues, and, the then Vice President Kamala Harris, became the nominee. I mean, he didn't really have much of a choice then. I mean, it was, Democratic insiders, Democratic activists, Democratic donors very quickly lined up behind Kamala Harris. But now, next 2028, it's a wide open field. And I really think it's interesting because the two of them have such a long-standing relationship. I mean, they grew up in San Francisco politics together. They have not only the same donors and the same, sort of benefactors, but the same friends. And they were friends. They would travel together. So they've always had this friendship / kind of rivalry. Like if you remember when Senator Boxer decided to retire to not run for re-election, I believe in 2016, there was a big question of, would Newsom run for that seat or would Kamala run, or would the AG run for that seat? And Kamala Harris ultimately ran for the seat and won it, and Newsom ran for governor, 2 years later in 2018 and won it. But they've always had this sort of interesting parallel career.
I actually saw some headline that suggested the two could run. It didn't suggest who would be the lead on the ticket. That sort of goes against a lot of political strategy, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, I think they could both run. I mean, like I think it's happened before. I mean, I need to look at my history on that. But I mean, I think the question is, how do they play in, Midwestern states, in states like South Carolina, which as of now will be holding the first Democratic primary. We don't know what's going to happen, with the process in the next couple of years. The former vice president obviously unsuccessfully ran for election in 2020. She, dropped out before the Iowa caucuses. And then, she was thrust into the presidential election in 2024 in a very, very short runway, which she, describes in her recent book, which she will be discussing again at the Wiltern on this week. So she's had a couple of runs. So I think that's one thing that people are going to look at. But then I also think people will look at how, Governor Newsom would play in Midwestern states. I mean, there is this, cliche stereotype about, Californians, like Chardonnay sipping liberals in hot tubs and whatever. But I do think I do wonder how he will play in Midwestern states, like, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin.
Or how his trolling of President Trump will...
That has been really interesting.
Right?
It has been... I don't entirely know what to make of it. I found it amusing, but I also wonder how... Also, I wonder, again, for the regular voter who's like, driving their kids to school and just trying to put dinner on the table and, earn their paycheck, how much are they paying attention to this stuff? Like, this is stuff that, political insiders like you and I, pay attention to. But I do wonder how because it's gone on for quite some time. I wonder how that plays among Democrats who, if you remember Michelle Obama saying, they go low, we go high, how it plays among those voters. But also they go low, we go high in terms of Democrats has changed a little bit. We can see that with Proposition 50, with the redistricting measure that voters will be deciding, less than 10 days from now.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens after the midterms, whether he solidifies his run for the White House. Seema Mehta, thank you so much for your comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
The Fox 11 Sports Desk is sponsored by Hyundai. See your SoCal Hyundai dealer today.
Well, the Dodgers are back at Chavez Ravine, working out right now as they get ready to host the Blue Jays for Game 3 of the World Series. The boys in blue now tied with Toronto after winning Game 2 last night. The city is going to be electric now that the World Series is back here on home turf. Fox 11 Sports Director Kyle Kraska joins us now in studio with what we can expect. A win, of course.
Of course, Susan. Thank you. Yeah, the Dodgers wrestling away home